And good afternoon from the Oklahoman's video studio. Dave Morris here, our weekly political update with our man in Washington, Chris Castile. He joins us via Skype. Good afternoon, Chris. Where are you?
Hey, Dave. I am on Capitol Hill. I'm sitting on a park bench. I'm on the Capitol grounds right across the street from the U.S. Supreme Court, and there's the Library of Congress. Very hot day here, 100-degree heat index, so just loving the nation's capital.
Hot summer day there in Washington, D.C. Chris, you had a story today reporting that Senator James Lankford sent a letter to President Barack Obama seeking more details about the cash payments made to Iran this year.
Right. You know, that's, I think that's something that a lot of Republicans are actually interested in. A lot of American people are interested in, too. That's the cash payments, $1.7 billion in total that was sent right around the same time as the nuclear deal was finalized and as Iran released 5 U.S. prisoners. So the timing of it has led to, lots of suspicion about, what was this a ransom payment? The administration has said no, but it was leverage, to get the prisoners out. We owed Iran this money, actually. So Lankford's just trying to get more information out. This time he wrote the president directly. Sometimes, these letters that never really get answered. Lawmakers will write these letters to high-ranking administration officials. Senator Lankford sent this one to President Obama himself. A lot of the questions Obama himself has answered, at least answered probably as much as they're going to be answered. So I think a lot of this is politics. We've got a few weeks in session here before they get back on the campaign trail. So, Republicans are going to be trying to obviously make the administration look, put them in as bad a light as possible for the next 5 weeks while they're here in town, just because of presidential politics.
This is a story you can find online at newsok.com, and it's outlined by Chris Castile in Thursday's editions of the Oklahoman. And Senator Lankford wanted to know why a traceable payment such as a wire transfer could not be used. And as Castile reports, the president responded that the U.S. does not have a banking relationship with Iran and couldn't send them a check, could not wire them the money. Specific response there, I guess.
Correct.
Chris, you mentioned that Congress is back in session for 5 weeks. What are they hoping to accomplish?
Right. They're here for 4 weeks before the elections. They've been gone for 7. They left in mid-July, right before the political conventions, and just now getting back. They got back on Tuesday after Labor Day. And, they've got some things they have to get done. They have to do something about the budget. The federal budget year runs from October 1st through September 30th. So you're looking at September 30th. They've got to come up with something. And probably what it's going to be is what they call a continuing resolution, where Congress basically says, we can't do our job. Let's just keep everything running on autopilot till we get back. I think the consensus is, that's pretty much what's going to happen. They're going to have to do something about Zika, whether it's 1.1 billion, 1.7, whatever they can get. They're going to have to get it. And not just because they need the money down in Florida, CDC's running out of money, whatever it might be. They need the money. They need to approve this so that, they can prove they can do it. You've got this kind of mini crisis going on down here, which could spread very quickly and be quite alarming, for the entire country, that this virus is spreading with Congress unable to, appropriate even the modest amount that they're trying to do. So they've got to do it just to show that they can do it. And I think they will. They had kind of a show vote in the Senate on Tuesday in which they, again, deadlocked and got all their arguments out. A lot of this is just politics. Really, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, Dave. It's just politics, and they got to get past it, and I think they will. They'll get that done before they leave.
It's a beautiful picture there being sent back from Washington, D.C. via Skype from Chris Castile, a reporter who covers matters up there. Although it's a hot day there, 100 degrees, at least with the heat index.
It's very hot, yeah.
Chris, last night you were tweeting about the Commander-in-Chief Forum. What did we learn last night?
Yeah, Dave, the Commander-in-Chief Forum held by NBC last night with Matt Lauer moderating. It wasn't a debate. Hillary Clinton went first, a Democrat. Trump went second. I think it was, by lottery. They drew straws or whatever. for order. But it was it was odd. It was an odd thing. It kept PolitiFact busy. I'll say that. That's the fact-checking organization that does these things in real time. And thankfully, PolitiFact and other fact-checking organizations have already done a lot of the spade work on this. They already know what Trump has said about Iraq, or they know what Hillary Clinton has said about emails. But it was neither candidate looked too good. That's for sure. I don't think either candidate's supporters probably came out of there feeling like there was a lot to brag about. I thought some of Trump's statements were the most eyebrow raising, especially when I don't know, if he means to almost trash the U.S. military, but surely he doesn't mean to do that. But it comes off sounding like that, and you're just left scratching your head about some of the generals are in rubble. Some of these generals are going to be gone. It's like, again, I just think he's inarticulate to some extent, or he's not used to responding to questions like this. He just doesn't have enough of a foundation in facts about policy, about Washington, about just the military, whatever issue it might be. He doesn't have enough of a foundation to just kind of speak off the cuff about it. So he winds up saying things that are just baffling. And I thought what struck me the most last night, other than the umpteenth defense by Hillary Clinton of using a private server for her emails, was some of Donald Trump's critical statements of the military. And again, to go back to the beginning, I don't know if he means them that way, but they sure come off sounding that way. They've got a debate in less than 3 weeks, and I got to assume that they'll both do better.
And you can follow Chris Castile on Twitter. I mentioned he was live tweeting during last night's Commander-in-Chief forum. You can follow Chris on Twitter at NewsOKPolitics. He also mentioned that debate. It's coming up Monday, September 26th. Lester Holt from NBC will be the anchor. Well, that was last night for the Commander-in-Chief Forum and the debate coming up. But in the meantime, Chris, what's another story you're working on? I understand it involves Senator Jim Inhofe.
Right. Dave, you probably remember last month, the Oklahoma City, state of Oklahoma, the Chickasaw Nation, the Choctaw Nation announced that they had reached an agreement over, it's been kind of 5 years in the making, really, I think. It was a lawsuit that filed by the two Indian tribes who were worried about their rights, their historic jurisdictional rights to water in their historic parts of Oklahoma, southeastern, south central Oklahoma. So very complex, but they came to an agreement that everybody seems very happy with, that protects everybody's rights, gives everybody input into how that water is used, gives Oklahoma City rights to Sardis Lake years in the future. They don't need it now, but when Oklahoma City's demand reaches it. So anyway, it's a big deal. But an agreement like this involving federal tribes and involving the Interior Department requires congressional approval. That's not always just a slam dunk. We are talking about Congress in Washington, so any little thing can hang it up. But Jim Inhofe has an incredible amount of influence in the Senate, with the leaders, and he's got a bill that this agreement kind of fits into. That's on the floor now, Senate floor now. They're considering it. Massive water projects bill. So Inhofe has put congressional approval of this Oklahoma agreement into that bill. This thing could fast track in the next 3 or 4 weeks. They're worried about getting it done by the end of the year, or, maybe having to push it into next year. But I think, if an Inhofe has anything to do with it, it may be done in a month. It's kind of funny, but how it is up here, really. Inhofe's been up here for a very long time. He's been in the Senate for 22 years, and this town runs on that kind of stuff.
It's interesting, and that's good coverage by our Chris Castile there. He's been reporting this afternoon via Skype, out and about in Washington, D.C., but it's a good look at how politics work there and the influence of a senior senator such as...
it's both.
Sure. All right, good stuff. Chris, always good to catch up with you, and more coverage from Chris can be found in the Oklahoman and online at newsok.com.